My name is James Lee, and I'm an attorney here at Liberty Law. There are actually other attorneys here in the room as well. There's Mario Aras back there in the back, and as well as Jackie, who's manning the camera. So thank you for coming. Our firm plans to have more of these seminars in the future, and so if you are interested in further information in getting notice of the seminars, then we will send that information to you. We believe the next seminar is going to be about all the changing immigration laws that are going on, especially with Arizona, and I know a lot of people are interested in what all that drama is going on, so and especially how that's going to affect Utah. And so what we're going to do is talk about that and how what we can expect the changes are going to be here in Utah. But with today's seminar, it is about gaining residency through a U.S. citizen spouse, also known as adjustment of status. Now, adjustment of status is a special kind of immigration process where you can actually do it while here in the U.S. You don't have to leave the United States. And that is something very special. And I get the question a lot, do I have to leave the United States for this process? And for this one, you don't have to. That's what's so great about it. Because this is a seminar, we're not creating an attorney-client relationship here. So it's basically to cover my behind in terms of liability, because I don't want anyone here leaving, going home and thinking that they have a new attorney and that they go home and tell their family that, hey, my attorney said this, this, and this. So this isn't an attorney-client relationship here. And one of the reasons for that is, if you look here, laws constantly change. What I tell you today might actually be different tomorrow, especially with immigration law. And so a lot of your own research has to be done, and especially if you want to be up to date with the laws that are applicable to you, then getting an attorney probably would be the best thing. So can you even apply for what we're talking about today? Are you eligible to do adjustment of status? So basically going from the status you are now to a permanent resident. Okay? Then we're going to talk about the costs involved. And it can get pretty expensive. So we're going to talk about all the fees and little costs here and there that you can expect. The applications that are needed, I'm going to list out every single application that you need to apply in this way. Then the documents and evidence for applications, all the things that you have to gather and send together with your applications. The timetable for the entire process. How long is this going to take? Is it going to take a year, 2 years, 3 years to finally become a permanent resident? And then finally, second to last, the interview. How do we prepare for the interview to become a permanent resident? What are the questions that they're going to ask? And then lastly, do you need an attorney? So, when you first think about applying, you think about marriage, of course. And one of the most common questions I get is, can I even get married? So the reason why they think that is because they think there is some kind of law that specifically prevents a quote-unquote illegal alien from getting married. But the thing is, even though marriage is probably more dangerous than driving, we give out marriage or driving licenses very strictly, and marriage licenses are pretty easy to obtain. So you can get married, even if you are legal, doesn't matter what status you are. So let's say you're married. Now, next thing you have to ask yourself is, did I enter the country with inspection? So entered with inspection. What that means is, did I come into the country with permission from the government, whether that be on a student visa, a work visa, or a visitor's visa? Now, when you get married, you then have to think about the timing of when you got married. So for example, if you come here on a visitor's visa and within the first 2 months you get married, they're going to suspect something. What they suspect is something called dual intent. Okay? What that means is you come into the country with not only the idea of seeing the Statue of Liberty, but the idea of also getting married. So the timing is very important of when you get married. You can't just get married within the first 2 months and actually that is a pretty important timeline, because if you get married in 3 months, they actually kind of think, okay, this is okay, even though there's really not that much of a difference. But, so 2 months is usually kind of that mark there. Okay, let's say you're good with that. You know, you got married 6 months into your visa or a couple of years into your visa. Let's say you're good with that. Now you have to think about the grounds of inadmissibility, the things that are going to block you from coming into the country. Now I know that you're already in the country, but this is kind of a round two when you're applying for permanent residency. They're going to be a little bit more strict. And so if you have any crimes that were committed in your other country or when you were here in America, they're going to look at that. If you have any communicable diseases, and the one that's actually listed is HIV. There's specifically, especially very harsh about HIV. And then there's, are you going to be a public charge? Meaning, are you just going to be a bum, come into the country and go on welfare? They don't want those kind of people. If you have any of these issues, then you probably should talk to an attorney. If you don't have those issues, you can probably keep going and ask yourself, did I overstay on the visa? Now that's probably the other question I get asked a lot. Most people, when they come to an attorney, there is some kind of problem. And one of the more benign problems is overstaying on a visa. It seems like everyone has overstayed on a visa. But here's a great thing about getting married to a US citizen. Even if you overstay your visa, you can still get married and become a permanent resident without much problem. So, but the problem though is if you ever want to leave the country and come back, they will prevent you from coming back into the country. So, if you have been overstaying in the country for 180 days, you will be prevented from coming into the country for 3 years. If you've overstayed for 365 days or more, you will be blocked for 10 years. And so what I say to that is, if you've overstayed 6 months or a year or more, do not leave the country while you're applying for your permanent residency, okay? But obviously, when you get that all done, then you can become the permanent resident, and then you can freely go in and out of the country.